If you run a business here in New Zealand, chances are you've bid on tenders before, whether from gets or private. Now, these tenders can be tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars in value over a multi year contract. And so it's really important you always put your best foot forward. The hard part is that there's so many different documents to reference and understand. And often when you bid on multiple tenders, there's a lot of copying and pasting of information that goes through. And that's where AI can come in. In this video, I'll show you exactly how you can set Claude up to look at your previous winning tenders and use those as reference to actually automatically fill out new tenders as they come through, but also start drafting some of those more complicated paragraphs based on those other sections as well, tweaked to the new information. For example, this video will show how you can upload all the tender documents into CoWork. It will run through and actually provide you the answered RFT or RFP with your information put it in here in the exact same format, so you don't have to copy and paste information in and out. To get started, you need to create a Claude account, and so you can go over to the Claude website. You'll need to grab the Pro plan, which comes out to be about 40 New Zealand dollars per month. This gives extended usage. It also gives you your data privacy of the information that you provide into the tool, which is really important when we're using AI tools. But also it allows us to use Claude CoWork, which is the big piece that we're going to be doing for this tender automation. Make sure to also download the Claude desktop app so then we can access CoWork as well, rather than doing it from the web browser. Next, what we want to do is grab our tender documents, whether that's a private tender that we can download from or go into Gets and find a relevant one as well. Once we download those into a folder on our computer, we can see that this is an example here for the New Plymouth District Council, put out a chatbot solution, and so we'll be using that as an example here. So grab all the related files from that tender into a folder. Then we're going to open up the Claude app, and we want to go over to this CoWork piece here. Now, what makes CoWork different to Chat? Chat can go and connect to your different tools. It's like ChatGPT, it provides a bit of text response. CoWork actually works on your computer within a file system. And so this means when we have a large amount of documentation, often we want to use CoWork so that it can go into all the different files, interpret them, edit them, create new ones. It's working on your machine in your files. And so what we're going to do is once we go over to CoWork here, we can see this work in a project piece. If we click on that, we can go choose a different folder, and then we're going to go and select where that tender documents are sitting. And so mine are just sitting in my downloads folder, the NPDC here, and I'm going to go select folder. It's going to ask us, hey, am I able to change files in this directory? And I'm going to go always allow. So we have those documents, but now it actually doesn't know anything about us and our business. And so that's where we want to go onto customize here. And we actually want to give it tools and connectors into our other apps and software that would store that information. On here, we can go connect to your apps. And then there's a whole range of different apps depending on the business that you are in, where that's been stored. For example, if you're in the Microsoft environment and you've got a whole bunch of information about your business, health and safety, previous tenders on your OneDrive or SharePoint, what you're going to do is search Microsoft. You're going to click on here and you're going to log in, and then it will actually be able to access and pull from there as well. If you're on Google, maybe you've got stuff stored in Google Drive, then you search Drive and connect to Drive. Same thing if it's stored in Notion, whatever tool it is, we want to connect it. And so then when it goes through and answers any question, it will go and look at these data sources for answers that we've had previously and use those. Alternatively, if you don't have any really good examples sitting in a different bit of software, you can simply go in and open this folder. We would create a new folder in here of company information. And so what you do there is go into this folder and then you dump any bits of information that could be relevant, that if someone was trying to draft a response to the tender without knowing anything about you, what could we provide in there? This could be company branding, this could be previous example tenders, project reports, any of that additional information that can help give it answers, we can put it in there as well, if we don't have those connections for it to go pull itself. So now we have all of the documents sitting there. We have it connected to our tools to pull additional information. What we want to create now is a skill. And so a skill is like a repeated set of instructions that Claude will follow to actually answer this tender for us. So if we go again back into customize on the left here, we can go create new skill. You can see a list of the current skills that I have here. One of these ones is a tender response drafter, which we're doing for Trap and Trigger. And what we can do now is go add, we can go create skills, and we can go create with Claude. And so it's going to pop up like this. And this is where we need to tell it all the information of what we are trying to achieve. And so I'm going to use Whisperflow, and I can just do Control Windows and speak into it. Hey Claude, I want to create a tender drafting skill. I'm going to provide you all of the documents in a folder in Cowork that's going to have access to all of the information from this request for tender from Gets. I'll also allow you access to my Google Drive, which has information about my company and previous tenders. They sit in the tenders folder. My company is Harkness AI. You can look at my website for other projects and information, and look at any other connectors that you can pull together to answer it. I want you to look at all the documents, look at the information you have for me, and answer each question inside the actual template for the RFT, and then highlight it. If it's green, you want it to be, you're fairly confident with the answer, like just put it into my website or my full name. Then if it's yellow, it needs a review that you've provided an answer, but it may need some checking. And then red, you couldn't find any information to actually answer it out. And so again, you can customize this for what your business actually needs for these tenders. And you can improve it over time. It's just first, let's get a skill there, and then we'll run it through. And then if there's any issues, we can tweak it over time as well, which is really easy to do. And so we're going to let that run. It may ask you some more questions if you haven't provided it enough information, and then we'll see what its output looks like. And so we can see there it's asked me a few questions. One of the good things about Claude is it has this nice little pop-up window, so it makes it easy to put answers in, and then it's going to create that skill. Once it pops back, you'll see a little pop-up on the side, and this is your skill.md file. And so what we do is read through here and make sure that every bit of information in here is correct. If there are any changes you need, you just write it back in here. Hey, can you please change this? Make sure it's New Zealand spelling, any of those key mistakes, and it will rewrite this. Once you're happy with it, you can go save skill in the top right, and it will save right across all of your Claude sessions, whether you're on your phone, your Chrome browser, different laptops. Every single time you want to respond and draft a tender, it will use this skill now, which is awesome. The last piece to quickly make sure that our connectors are working is if we went back into Cowork, we are making sure that we're on this piece here. We go to the plus sign, we go onto the connectors, and we can see that they are turned on as here, and that will make sure that they're actually working. Now what we're going to do is say draft my tender response, because we have given it access to everything in that folder, which has all of the documents relating to the tender. We've given it a skill, so it knows step-by-step instructions of how to actually accomplish this task, and it has connections, so it can go into all of my different software to pull information if needed. This is going to take a bit of time to run through, so I'll let it sit there and we'll see what the result comes back with. While it's running, as a quick bonus, you can actually set it up to scan Gets for you to find tenders that you may want to apply. And so instead of you manually looking at the emails that come through or going on to Gets yourself, you can set up these scheduled tasks. So if we come on to the left here, we can go onto schedule, and then you can go new task. Give it a name, a description, and a set of instructions for what it needs to do. And then you can set a frequency if you want it to run every single week or every single day. For example, for this trap and trigger one we did as a demo, it went and pretty much just said, hey, I want you to go and scan Gets. Here's the stuff that we want you to pull back, the information. Here's the step-by-step pieces that I want you to go forward, and then come back and outline for each relevant tender, give me all the information, and if it's a high, medium, or low priority to apply to it as well. And so that's another quick one to add to. So after about 20 minutes, it's come back and finished. On the right-hand side, you'll get a progress report, so it actually plans out all the tasks it's going to do. So it's going to pull all the information, it pulls all my context, it then maps out all of the response pieces it needs, drafts them, reviews them, and then packages them up as well. And so you can read through all the skills and tools that it used there, and it goes all the way through. Here are the outputs: 217 green fields, 22 yellow, 24 red, pricing as well on there as well. And so our output from this are two PDF Word documents in that actual format. So we've got our non-price response, which I'll just download into Word now so we can see it a little bit better. Popped up on my other screen. Here we go. And so if I zoom in, this is the exact template that was completely blank at the start. And now I can see that A lot of these fields are fully populated. My trading name, the full legal name, address, website, a lot of the stuff is mentioning Cavo AI because we were doing a joint proposal on this one. So it's looked at some reference pieces there as well. And so built out the executive summary, all of these different layers here, the proposal, the solution architecture based on other pieces of work that I've done as well. And so it goes out and actually fills out all the information for me. It knows here that I haven't done too much work talking about Te Reo Māori implications and cultural considerations, so it actually does highlight that. That's something that I need to review as well. And you can go through there, and the more information that you provide it, the previous past winning tenders, the better these outputs are going to be over time as well. Like with any of these AI tools, this gets you 80% of the way there. Of course, there's a lot of refinement that you have to do to get the output based on your business information, the formatting, all of those kind of pieces. But that's just adding that layer on. Now that you've got this set up, it is running it through a few times and going, hey, these are the pieces we want to change, updating that skill, and then it will change its memory as well. And so then your next result becomes better and better over time. And so it is a bit of a time game to teach it how to respond properly, but it's getting you 80-90% of the way there. I'm Blake, an AI engineer that's helped over 15 businesses right across New Zealand with AI implementation. A lot of the work recently has been setting up Claude to connect into all their different systems, setting up skills to help out with all the different repetitive tasks. So if you're not sure how to get started and want a bit of help, reach out to me in the link in the description below. Cheers.